Do you know how important it is to shut up? Do you have any idea how many people have ruined their lives, their futures, their opportunities, or their dreams because they simply didn't know how to keep their mouths shut? Some people get too carried away with being happy, opening up all their plans, sharing every detail of their lives, and then, when things go wrong, they don't understand why it went wrong. Or those who lose their temper in a moment of anger and frustration and end up saying the wrong thing. The key to changing this is learning to keep your mouth shut. Zeno of Scythia, the founder of Stoicism, said that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. One reason: we should listen twice as much as we speak. From the moment we are born, we are encouraged to express ourselves, and our first words are celebrated by those around us. However, few times in our lives have we learned that silence is also a powerful form of communication. Remaining silent can reveal a lot about you, your intentions, and your personality, showing respect for people and the environment. This can attract more attention than talking nonstop or trying to convince someone who doesn't want to listen. You don't want to hear. When you talk too much, especially without purpose or clarity, you diminish your power, and instead of giving the impression of authority of someone who has mastered the subject, you have the opposite effect. You cause the opposite effect, leading others to respect you less and devalue you. When you exchange the desire to speak for the desire to listen, you will turn the key to personal growth to happen. A simple exercise for you to reflect on today: think of 3 things you've lost in life because you didn't shut up, because you could have kept quiet and couldn't stop yourself and couldn't help yourself. Just as a person has developed the habit of talking too much and being a compulsive talker, they can develop the habit of learning to listen. How? By talking less. For this to happen, you need to realize that the more you talk, the more you weaken yourself. The more you talk, the more you weaken. The more you listen, the more you strengthen. Temperance is like having a remote control for our reactions. It tells us not to overdo it, neither to talk too much nor to act on impulse. And wisdom is like having a map that shows you the best way forward. It helps us understand when and how to act or speak. A practical exercise we can do to help us speak less. Have temperance, and wisdom is anchoring. Anchoring is a powerful technique for creating and strengthening mental associations between external stimuli and internal responses. External stimuli and internal responses. If a person is afraid of cockroaches, for example, just hearing the word cockroach makes them terrified and distressed. This is because they have created a feeling of horror through the word. It's the same with positive things. Think of chocolate, for example. Your mouth must have salivated by now. This can help us create mental associations that encourage silence. Start by choosing an anchor, whether it's a physical object like a wristband or putting on the bottom of your cell phone screen. Talk less. Every time you pick up your cell phone or look at that rubber band, you establish a connection between the anchor and a feeling of silence. In this way, you teach your brain to associate this stimulus with a state of calm and silence. Do this several times to get the hang of it. Then, when you're in a conversation and feel like talking too much, use your reminder. This will help you stop, breathe, and choose to listen rather than talk. Remembering that silence is a powerful form of communication can transform the way you interact with others. As well as improving your listening, you may find that by speaking less, your words have more weight and impact when you choose to use them. You'll be surprised that the more you listen, the more you can learn and truly connect with others. Always remember that silence is your first language. Learn to master it. Don't tell people your plans. Sharing your dreams and projects before making them a reality may seem like a way of seeking support and motivation, but it ends up being a shot in the foot. Something that psychologists have discovered over time is that people who like to talk a lot about their plans before taking action are the ones who do the least to achieve what they had planned. People who announce their plans to start their own business, change their habits, write a book, or get a new job end up remaining stuck in life for a long time without evolving or accomplishing anything. For a long time without evolving or accomplishing anything they had talked about. This is because when we talk about our goals, our brain releases a satisfaction hormone and we feel as good as if we had actually achieved them. This can decrease your motivation to really go for it and make it happen. If you want to achieve your goals, keep this information to yourself and worry about taking the first step towards achieving them. In addition, Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Roman emperors and a Stoic philosopher, warned us that when we trust someone without first knowing whether they are trustworthy, the mistake of naivety is ours. Sometimes when we tell people our plans, they can even unconsciously sabotage us. They may criticize or discourage your ideas, underestimate your ability, or even cruelly point out all your flaws. This often leads us to doubt ourselves, and we easily trade in our plans and projects for negative opinions. Our plans and projects for the negative opinions of others. Understand that you can't grow anywhere in the world without being hated by those who are standing still. When you remain silent, people don't know what your next steps are, and nobody sabotages what they don't know exists. Seneca, the statesman and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Letters on Friendship about the importance of carefully choosing who to entrust your dreams to. A true friend, according to him, is someone who sincerely hopes for your success and with whom you can share your plans without fear. However, not all people, sometimes even those closest to you, are like that. That's why it's important not to fall into the error of naivety and to learn to evaluate the character of those who is trustworthy. It's wonderful to share when something good happens to us or when we make a dream come true. Dream, but you need to understand who you can do it for and when. Your victories will speak for themselves when they are achieved, and then everyone will know. Therefore, choose to share your dreams only with those who truly support and encourage you to go further. Keep your opinion to yourself. Stoicism offers a valuable perspective, teaching us to expand our vision beyond our own points of view and to consider life in different ways. One of the most liberating lessons of Stoicism is the ability to choose not to express our opinion, to shield ourselves from the dictatorship of the answer. As the Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations, every minute I spend on taking care of other people's lives is one less minute dedicated to our own lives and our own moral development. This philosophy can be applied not only to superficial discussions, but also to interactions with our inner circle. In other words, every time you give an unsolicited opinion on your brother's life, the car your neighbor bought and you think he should have chosen a different color, or the way your nephew is educated. Every time we give our opinion on other people's decisions, we are experiencing a problem or a situation that is not within your control to resolve. Stoicism invites us to focus on our own life, suggesting that if we have extra time and energy, we should use it. We should use it to help others, not to judge them harshly. This approach not only helps us cultivate a richer and more peaceful inner life, but also teaches us to value positive action over empty criticism, fostering a supportive and mutual support and growth. When we realize that we can control our opinion, we understand that we can control what we say. Practice the skill of thinking absolutely nothing about a given situation and accept that you don't have to give an opinion on everything that happens around you and not feel disturbed by these events. As the words of Marcus Aurelius confirm, we have the power to have no opinion at all about something and not let our soul be disturbed, because things don't have the natural power to shape our judgments. Limit the access of nosy people. Nosy people rarely ask if we want or need their opinions. They simply express them. They usually say what's on their mind, without much thought or reflection. And when confronted, they justify their behavior by claiming to be sincere and honest. Victor Hugo, a French poet and novelist, once wrote that, "Know that frankness does not consist in saying everything you think, but in thinking everything you are going to say." Being honest and frank has nothing to do with disrespect. That's why it's essential to set clear boundaries in our relationships. Those who speak without thinking often end up saying the wrong thing to the wrong person, at the wrong time, in the wrong place, and, above all, about the wrong thing. Passively waiting for someone to recognize and respect your personal boundaries without you communicating them clearly can be an endless wait and not work. It's up to you to set these limits in a polite and respectful way. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offered sage advice that applies perfectly to situations like this. When talking to a student who was having difficulties because of his brother's behavior, he advised him by saying, "Everything has two handles, one you can handle and one you can't. That you can't." This means that there are things that, although we can't control the behavior of behavior, we can choose how to respond to it. When someone meddles too much in your life or says things they shouldn't, you can't control what they do. Control what they do, but you can control how you respond. One approach might be to talk to the person privately, being honest and saying that you don't like it, that you don't accept this kind of behavior because it affects the relationship between you and could lead to the friendship drifting apart. This attitude not only helps to protect your personal space, but also teaches others how to interact with you in a respectful and considered way. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and a way of cultivating healthier and more balanced relationships. Relationships. We must recognize that there is a limit that we must bear, and stick to it. Epictetus also makes a comparison about smoke in a house, which goes like this. Has anyone made smoke in the house? If he has made a moderate amount of smoke, I stay. If too much, I leave. And if you act like that, now is the time to review that attitude and invest your time in your own development. You don't have to give satisfaction. Silence carries such profound wisdom that, at certain times, it becomes the best answer. Sometimes we feel the need to explain ourselves, whether to seek acceptance, to please or to create bonds with others. However, many problems in our lives are in fact caused by ourselves, by not keeping our tongue inside our mouth. Keep our tongue inside our mouth. Sometimes we want to show others how we're living, and we talk unrestrainedly about our financial life, our intimate life as a couple, what happens between four walls. We want to show the world how well and happy we are, or why we're sad and dissatisfied, without thinking directly about the consequences. Epictetus said, "If you drink water, don't tell the world that you drink water." This means that it's not necessary to talk about everything we do in life to others. The idea is that we should live simply and truthfully without needing the approval or recognition of others, or recognition from others. In this sense, Epictetus teaches us the importance of keeping some things to ourselves and not sharing every detail of our lives, showing that being discreet and keeping certain choices to ourselves can be a way of strengthening our character. You don't always have to explain your actions. Sometimes keeping quiet is the best answer. Neither speaking too little nor too much is ideal. Balance is the key. Talking too little can close doors, as people may think you're not interested or involved. On the other hand, talking too much can make someone tiresome and even lead to unwanted situations. Therefore, finding the middle ground is essential. It's important to know when to speak and when to remain silent, balancing our desire to express ourselves with the wisdom of keeping certain things to ourselves. This helps us build healthy relationships and avoid unnecessary problems. Don't get emotional. There's a lesser-known story about Plato where, faced with a situation that made him very angry, he realized that he was so emotional that he wouldn't be able to deal with the problem fairly. So he asked his servant to resolve the issue. This moment shows that even a great philosopher like Plato knew the importance of controlling emotions in order to make the right decisions. If you don't control your silence, you'll be a slave to your words. Some people, when they feel happy, talk too much and reveal their plans, which should be kept under wraps until they happen, or until that moment when nothing can go wrong. Or they make promises, giving their word that they can't keep. Others talk too much when they're angry, and it's at these moments that most people can't control their tongue and end up saying hurtful things. You see, a word said is never taken back, and sometimes the wounds they cause are enormous. Even in an argument, if someone hurts you, it's better to leave the other side sorry than hurt. Because expressing all your anger to hurt the other person won't heal your wound. It will only make it deeper. When you shut up and stay silent, it's important to understand that it's a valuable time to absorb information and organize yourself. To absorb information and organize your thoughts before responding. Some experiences and feelings are meant to be processed internally, not expressed impulsively. Silence is a powerful tool. It gives you space to absorb information, reflect, and organize your thoughts before expressing them. Being silent allows you to think more clearly without the distractions of the internal noise that accompanies the constant need to speak. Thus, by choosing silence in moments of strong emotion, you gain time to evaluate the situation calmly and respond in a more considered and effective way. Do I really want to hurt someone I love? Will I be able to fulfill what I'm committing to do? Emotion can be thought of as a drug that affects our ability to think, both in negative and positive moments. If we don't have self-control, we go on and on, completely altered by our emotions, and give in to all our emotional impulses. When we practice silence, we have the means to understand our own thoughts and emotions, leading to greater personal and spiritual growth. Growing in silence is a journey of self-improvement that teaches us the value of shutting up, listening more, and reflecting deeply before acting. So may we cultivate the habit of shutting up, not as a limitation, but as a source of strength and personal growth.